Welcome to Jerez de la Frontera, a city of passion, tradition, and timeless artistry. This city embodies all that's good about Andalucia. You've got the wine business here, the sherry wine. In fact, Jerez is Spanish for sherry. And so there are dozens of these ancient bodegas producing the most incredible fortified wine. The aromas float through the streets, so you almost get a little intoxicated just walking down the street. This is also the home of flamenco culture, the wild guitar playing, singing, and dancing that has its roots in Roma traditions. We'll be exploring this tradition during an annual festival. And finally, we'll take a look at the Spanish riding school, the school where they teach this ancient form of dressage with the most beautiful horses and displays of horsemanship you've ever seen. So stay with us. That's coming up next. Now, Jerez is home to one of the most prestigious equestrian institutions in the world, the Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Arts. Now, this is the place where these beautiful white horses learn the moves of classic dressage. The weekly show at the school is one of the highlights of any visit to Jerez. Although it's built on the grounds of a 19th century palace, the school itself is not that old.
Well, the Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Art Foundation started in 1973 when Mr. Álvaro Domecq, he's a very famous rider, breeder. He was awarded with the Golden Horse Prize, very important equestrian prize award every single year. Instead of giving a speech, he preferred to do something different. So he decided to organize an equestrian show, Alta Escuela Dressage show, in a public park. The arena is from 1980. It was designed in a very Andalusian style. The arena and the stable. And once they bought the property, once that they decided that this was the right place to settle this future equestrian school, they started designing and building arenas, stables, outdoor arenas, etc.
The centerpiece of the property is the Recreo de las Cadenas Palace, a 19th century masterpiece designed by French architect Charles Garnier, whose other buildings include the Paris Opera House and the Monte Carlo Casino.
Okay, we organized 5 different programs: tack making, grooming, carriage driving, veterinary nursing, and obviously dressage, riding. In total, about 40 students, about 120, 130 horses. And in order to get the access, in order to study here, all the students must pass written exam and a practical test. And for example, in dressage, just 6 students make it, only 6 are accepted and spend 4 years. Dressage is a 4 years program. Stables. There are like several stables in the property. The most important ones are around the tack room. The tack room is the heart of school. Everything that we do every single day is coming from this place. It's a very functional tack room. It's the tack room. And around the tack room, we keep about 60 horses. Well, the school is not just a school as itself. It's also an entertaining place. I mean, people come here and they may visit the stables of horses. We organize tours to show them the most important horses. They have the opportunity to talk to the riders, to the students, to see how they prepare horses for training sessions. For me, a very important place in the whole school, which is the saddlery. It's a workshop. It's a place where you can see how the master is cutting leather, is sewing, is fixing saddles. But it's also a classroom because he's with his 2 students and they are learning from the master how to make a saddle. We have a beautiful carriage museum. It was a sherry house long ago, and now it's a place used to keep a beautiful collection of costumes, beautiful collection of carriages, harnesses, and the horses. And all the visitors can see everything, that all the elements that we put together, the carriage, the horse, the harness, the costume, and this is extremely important, and it's something very unique from this part of Spain. This building was a distillery, and now is used to keep a collection of costumes for both carriage driving and dressage. We had the first costume that the founder used in 1973 for the first show. We have the gala costume. It's a costume that we only use few times a year for the most important celebration, for the most important shows, and the ones that we use on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And this is the regular costume for most of the shows. And we also have a very beautiful collection of costumes for, we call Doma Vaquera. It's like that Western riding. It's that type of riding that the cowboys or vaqueros do in the countryside when they are herding the bulls and cows. There's also a collection for coachmen.
As you might expect, the horses themselves are treated like, well, royalty.
So, we feed them with hay, with alfalfa, with oat, with supplement. The diet is extremely important for these athletes. They are athletes, and these ones concretely are carriage horses. So they receive a basic training. They come from the farm at the age of 3, maybe 2.5, 3, and we start a very precise training process. What is really important is to get them together as a team, because each horse has its own temperament, personality. Some of them prefer to be on the front. Some of them are so powerful that they must be better placed by the carriage at the back. So I think the most important task of the carriage driver is to get to know all the horses very well and to put them together. We exercise them every single day. We clean them. We have a solarium. We have a chiropractor. In case they have any muscular problem, any problem with tendons or tendinitis or things like this, we have a very professional group of vets and veterinary nurses. Yeah. The Spanish horses are pretty balanced, both mentally and physically. When I say mentally, they are very calm, very easy to work with, very patient. And we understand dressage as an act of communication, interaction, bonding, friendship, partnership. It's a creative riding, so the rider must be the painter and the horse his canvas. So I ride my horse in order to express myself. Obviously, there's a technique that all these riders follow, but then there's a creative part when they try to combine all these classic movements in order to create or recreate the perfect choreography.
I asked Javier if there was a relationship between this school and the famous Spanish riding school in Vienna and their legendary Lipizzaner stallions.
During the 16th century, from Cordoba, from the royal stables in Cordoba, 1,000 horses were taken to Austria, and they mixed it with any other breeds in order to get this Lipizzano horse, a perfect horse for this Haute Ecole dressage and very similar to the Spanish horse. And what both schools try and are fighting for is the development, is the protection of the Haute Ecole dressage. This variety of riding from the 16th century that it has to do with the light cavalry. So when horses jump in those spectacular movements called capriole, all these sort of movements are war movements. They represent the fighting. When knights and soldiers used to fight, they used to make horses do things like this.
Before he had to leave for his next appointment, Javier wanted to share his favorite part of the palace.
This is my favorite part of the palace of the Zodiac Hall. So here you may see all the different zodiac signs represented on the doors. We got Cancer, Leo, Virgo, because
We bid our excellent guide farewell and spent a few more minutes walking around the property, checking out the beautiful details of the palace. Then we headed into town to one of our favorite cafes for one of those 2-hour, 3 sherry lunches that Jerez is so famous for.